afternoon, students. Today we are going to look at assessment 3. This is for teaching practice for B.Ed Foundation Phase. And I'm sharing this today on the 13th March 2024. I am your lecturer, Dr. Manyaka, for TPF3704. I'm not going to talk about how you contact me because we've already posted an orientation video that has all the details. We're just going to go right into assessment 3, which is portfolio 50. What is assessment 50 about? We are just going a walk through. I'm going to go as much as I can, but I've left out the other lesson for grade 1. I will tell you why. That will do it later. Just remember that portfolios are exams, so is assessment 50 or assessment 3 portfolio 50 is the same thing. Assessment 3 deals with grade R and grade 1 activities. You spend 1 week in grade R and then you spend the other week in grade 1. And this must be 2 consecutive weeks. It means that you cannot do one week of grade R and rest and come and do it later. It must be consecutive. That's why we talk about 2 blocks. You can do your assessment 3 portfolio 50 for 2 consecutive weeks and then schedule assessment 4, which is portfolio 51 for another 3 consecutive weeks. Remember, consecutive according to the DHET accreditation. That's what we need to do. The total marks for this year is 200, which the system will convert to 100. You might ask yourself, why do I make it to be 200? We have a lot of lessons. It's 10 lessons, and we find ourselves making your lessons down because we cannot be able to accommodate all areas. This year, we want every aspect of your lesson to be marked. If it's introduction, it must be given marks. Learning outcomes, that's why it came to 200. But the system as it is, our learning management system can only take 100 marks. It will convert into 100 marks. The next line might confuse you. Though it is 100 marks for portfolio 50, and 100 marks for portfolio 51. The assessment plan, the final mark is going to convert both of them to 70%. It means that your portfolio 50 will be 35%. Your portfolio 51 will be 35%. That's the final weight. It means if you have submitted both portfolios, they will make up 70% of the summative assessment, because the 30% is going to be made by the assessment 2, the bulk of which is the supervision. You may type your script provided you do not write elongated lessons. What I mean is that usually when students are typing, they write a lot of information that is not required, and that takes time when we are marking. So please make sure that you are to the point and you summarize as long as you know what you've done in the classroom. Take note of all attachments that are in the portfolio. As I said, assessment 50 is we all go to, for all the weeks we go to school is face-to-face. Your assessment 50 is 2 weeks made of grade R, 1 full week, and grade 1, 1 full week. Total is 2 weeks. And then assessment 51, which we'll talk about it when I do another video, is 3 weeks. Grade 2 is 1 full week, and grade 3 is 2 full weeks. It means it's 3 full weeks for portfolio 51. Let's just look at the instructions that are important. Fill in the examination workbook, which is your portfolio template. Fill it in full everywhere. You must answer questions in the spaces provided, and use the space as well as looking at the mark allocation as a guide. If it's a case study like in MFP 2601, which is management, you won't have a lesson that we're going to teach about management. So it will be a form of a case study. When you answer the questions, if the overall case study is 10 marks, really, you can't just say yes or no and then get marks, or yes and no and write one sentence and you get full marks. You would not pass if you do that. I spoke about 200 marks when I spoke about the portfolio. I said it's out of 200 marks. The 10 marks are made out of the student information, student declaration. There are two. One is for plagiarism. The other one is generic, is 10 marks. I don't understand why you would not get 10 marks here. Just make sure you fill in all the information. 10 marks is there, freely given. And then your lesson, that includes a mentor evaluation, will be out of each one of them will make, the 4 of them will make about 80, meaning that each one is 20 marks. But your lesson 1, which is MFP 2601, the case study that I gave an example, is 10. So it means that for your grade R, the 5 lessons, the first one is a case study, is 10 marks. The other case lessons from 2 to 5, they are 20 marks each. They are all making 90 marks when combined with the case study. The same with grade 1. The case study will be 10 marks. The 4 lessons will be 20 marks each. Attendance register will be 10 marks. Also, this one you should get it, because this year for Portfolio 50, I only added the register for the days that you're going to visit the school. In other words, for the 2 weeks, even though it's 5 weeks, the 2 weeks for the assessment 50 will have their own register. Then the 3 weeks will have their own register for assessment 51. Then when it comes to assessment 2, we want to see the whole 5 weeks. And the total will be 200. As I said, the summative percentage is 35%. This you don't have to worry about. I don't do the total. Also, you don't have to figure it out. The system has been set like that. Just take note, if you submit one portfolio, let's say you submit assessment 50, you get late, your assessment 51 doesn't go through, or vice versa. The system cannot give you marks. I hear students coming back and saying, ma'am, but I did write assessment 1 and 2, but now I submitted one portfolio. Why am I not having marks? The system has been geared in a way that you are forced to do all the grades. Remember, foundation phase is grade R to grade 3. If there's no register, we do not mark. We have complaints to ombudsmen, we have complaints to lawyers, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a register that's supposed to be in your portfolio, we are not going to mark it. This year, I've put the register right at the front page because it breaks my heart to see you failing because you didn't include a register. A register is that authentication that you have been to school. When we are being audited like we are this year, we are under audit. If they pull up your portfolio 51, and then it is found that there's no register, the DHET will ask, how do you know now that the student has been to school? Because your register has the principal signature, also has the school stamp. If a register is incomplete, this is in case where the some student just write 1 June and no year. Imagine if you're doing an affidavit for a job, let's say they say go and get a stamp that on your qualification, it mustn't be more than 3 years. And then wherever you are stamping, whether it's the post office, whether it's a postnet, or whether it's the police station, they just write 1 June. Nobody will consider that as a legal document. The same with us. And if we don't have any school stamp and signature, it's a 0. Some students just submit maybe 1 week and leave out the rest of the register. We have attached the complete template for a reason. Do not undermine our forward thinking, because we know why we do the things that we do. Here is the content of your portfolio 50. You've got lesson 1, which is MMP 2601. Remember, I said it's a case study out of 10. And then the rest, lesson 2 to 5, is 20 marks each, which is FPT 3701. We are in grade R. HLT 3701, LSK 3704. You see the lesson numbers there. And then FMT 3701 grade R. Just make sure that when you take out the template, I didn't talk about the template. You are given one template. We didn't want to duplicate at every page. So all of these lessons, you're going to use the template that we gave you. When you get that template, if it's you don't apply to the case study, because the case study is already lesson 1. I've given spaces, questions and spaces where you're going to answer. But when it's lesson 2, is FPT 3701, mark it accordingly. Say lesson 2, FPT 3701, grade R. Then you continue. It's already there, but some students decide to leave it out. Do the same with all the lessons. And then lesson 6 is case study for grade 1. And then lesson 7 to 10 is full lessons. I wrote there that the activity is a lesson plan and teaching. Some students ask, do I just prepare a lesson? Remember, you are now you are doing independent teaching. You're going to teach in the classroom on your own without your mentor co-teaching with you. And then at the end, you are able to then submit a portfolio that has got your lesson plans and the mentor evaluation. So those are going to be the needs, and make sure you do that. And then do not ask me if you just plan a lesson. This is independent teaching. This is your final year. From there, you are on your own next year.